I recently got sent this really cute little laser engraver. Now I can't stop engraving things. I also test an interesting application for 3D printing, so stay tuned for that. Soon as this package arrived, I dropped everything and set this thing up. I just really love fun little machines like this and experimenting with what you can do with them. In fact, you may be surprised to learn that Mimic hobby kind of all started with me buying a Cricut and selling a lot of iron-on transfers. So a laser engraver has been on my wish list for a long time. As we run through the setup here very quickly, I do apologize. It was a very bright day, and this does require somewhere to vent fumes, so I had to set it up by my window. But it was super easy to set up. I got all the foam removed, unpacked some of the accessories, and connected that tube into the vent at the back and just popped it out the window. The starter guide was also really helpful, and it was soon switched on, ready for me to start engraving. We do start with an important safety feature here. They ask you to create a security code to be able to unlock the machine anytime you use it. Look away, no peeking at mine. This is such an important feature for these sorts of machines. They are too fun and too enticing, and steps like this should be taken to prevent children from using them unaccompanied by an adult. So I first tested their handwriting feature. I scribbled on the screen in my not so neat handwriting and set about engraving it on the test wood that they provided. It was super quick, and pretty soon we have this. So now I have a basic idea of how to engrave. I wanted to experiment a bit with changing the light intensity, so I engraved 3 examples of our logo. I made it kind of small really because I wanted to test if the light intensity would help to dial in some of those details. And so here are our 3 results. I started with 80% light intensity, which you can see how more of a brown burn disperses from the edges. So I dropped it down by 10%, and you can see this 70% here was a definite improvement, but it could have done with more, so I dropped it all the way down more, and this 50% intensity was for sure the cleanest engraving with this straight black and white option. If you do try this machine for yourself, I would say it's definitely worth taking the time to try dialing the settings for your different types of materials. You also need to consider the types of images you're using too. They also have a really helpful guide on their website that gives you a bunch of information for a huge variety of materials. Now I've messed around with some wood a little bit, I wanted to set about with an actual project. And I felt inspired by this hunter statue that Parker had recently painted. So I decided I would engrave a little coaster. I ran a test first because there didn't seem to be a material setting for ceramic. So I wanted to make sure I was going to choose the right setting. The closest setting I thought made sense was this one here for black rock. So I set up the Mimic logo, made it big enough to fit the coaster, and then I clicked this button here. So this makes the laser indicate the engraving area based on the size of the image and the placement, so you can make sure it's going to hit your material in just the right place. You can see here it marks the area and shows the logo will engrave perfectly in the center of my coaster. So I go ahead and I start the process, and it took just over 20 minutes. Leaving me with this engraved coaster. So I think that this was the right option for ceramic. I didn't actually end up testing other settings on ceramic and decided to just get on and set up my hunter's mark design. Another thing I will explain here quickly is that the laser is adjustable. They give you this small hammer here, you place it on the material, then lower the laser until it rests on top of the hammer tool. This is how you know that you're working at the right distance from laser to material. As for the images, so far I've just been using Photoshop to tidy them up and then use PNGs for the machine, but there are dedicated programs out there like Lightburn that would be super useful for this type of machine. I'm going to give it a little bit longer before I decide whether I am ready to make an investment into this software though. So once again, I check the sizing for this coaster and I go ahead, hit engrave, and after again just another 20 minutes, we have our finished coaster, which I better go gift to Parker because I have never played Bloodborne. Next up, I had an idea to engrave like a little backdrop for one of his models. So whilst we've been working on some home and studio renovations, Parker couldn't possibly stay away from his painted desk for this entire time, so he did paint this small Leon bust. This was designed by Tanuki, and it was an ideal side project whilst we were working on some home renovations. Now, I didn't know which material to take for a backdrop, so I tried out both wood and metal. The first metal sheet that I tried to engrave on didn't work, so I learned the hard way here that I did not get the right material. So warning, pay attention when you're buying materials. Once I got my hands on some anodized aluminium, I was good to go. Now here is another thing to be aware of. These machines have differently powered lasers, and you can swap between them, and you need to swap between them for some materials in particular. But again, go back to that website guide they have. It is super handy to let you know which laser to use. So now that I have the correct material, I refer to the guide, and I see here that I need to switch to the 1.5 watt laser. To do that, I head to the settings, click machine, and head to the laser setting, which gives a drop down to choose which laser I want to use. Something else to be aware of here is that you need to also prepare your images correctly. This is where Lightburn would come in super useful. But I went about it all the hard way. For my first tests, I just used Photoshop to turn images into a grayscale image, and it did not really work. Here are some of my failed attempts. And here is a comparison to where I actually used a program to make this image suitable for aluminium engraving. And it made such a difference. I actually did the same with the wood as well. You can see here how incredibly dark the grayscale image I prepared came out on the wood. The one prepared specifically for wood engraving came out so much better, and you can really see all of the details of the image. So again, learn from my mistakes and experimentation and make sure you prepare your images properly. I also found that once I made this image even bigger, it had these weird lines here. So again, maybe I just need to put some more time into experimenting and playing around with some of the programs. To be honest, dialing in the settings for these sorts of machines is something I tend to always enjoy, so this laser engraver is certainly going to get a lot more of my attention. In the end, I decided that I preferred how these images looked on wood. So I went ahead and get all of my Resident Evil images set up for wood engraving. I also found here that because of the grayscale nature and not because they were black and white like my original test images with the logo, I could trust the machine's suggestion for the light intensity a bit more. So these were all done at 80%. And here are the new little backdrops with Leon. I already know Parker is also going to be getting some ideas for these to create backdrops for his miniatures. So I'm really excited to get to use this machine more and help him with some of those. Now for my final test, I simply had to see if this would work with 3D prints. And I was pleasantly surprised to find that it does. I tested on a couple of really small things first. So we had a failed gun from that hunter model that I showed you earlier. And I tried to just engrave on the barrel the word mimic. I also tried to engrave hunter on it too. Played around with the size and the light intensities. And I was pretty impressed with how well this worked, to be honest. Now we all know around here that Parker loves some freehand. However, having recently learned to paint for myself a little bit, more on that very soon if you missed our Twitch stream, I know that I would very much value having a guide to paint over. This marking was very light on the surface of the barrel of the gun, which is something that does come up every now and then when we look at existing sculpts. For example, when people sculpt tattoos on a model, it doesn't always kind of look quite right, and this is because they are either sunken into the skin or they are raised, and it just creates a depth to the tattoos that isn't really realistic. It kind of stops the model from reading his skin somewhat. I know it is a sculpting decision that actually does put Parker off, and if he really does want to paint something with sculpted tattoos, he will usually either sand them away or fill them and sand them so that he can freehand them instead. So the fact that with a low light intensity, this machine actually engraved them quite lightly on the surface, I couldn't actually feel any difference in texture when I ran my finger across this print, could be really useful to just act like a stencil. Next, I moved to a cape, and I actually experimented a bit with a heavier light intensity to see if I actually could engrave recess into the 3D print. So I wanted to try get a nice looking pattern on the edges of this cape. I thought that if the details were actually sunken in a bit, this might help with painting something so detailed. You could maybe just use like a pin wash and let it run through all of the recesses. Now I could only get so much of this cape into the machine, but I lined it up best I could and I hit go. And this was just another little test really. I haven't really done any real application with 3D prints, but I was interested to see how an image with a bit more detail would work on a 3D print. I had to turn off the safety feature here that requires you to close the lid before you can start with the engraving because the piece was so big, but also I wanted to be able to actually film a little bit of the process to show you guys. But it is not safe for your eyes. So I hit go and I left the room. When I returned, I was excited to see that it actually worked really well. I had lined it up a little wrong, that's my bad, but it did work. And after this test, I returned to the booklet again and I actually realized that I could raise the laser even higher. So it's locked in at the back here, so I just unscrewed these screws, lifted it up and screwed back in at a new height. So this now means I can get even taller pieces in here. So time for another test. This time I wanted to see if I could get a stencil down for like a tattoo. So we used this leg here. This was in our dud pile, so whilst a smooth unclothed thigh would maybe work as a better example, I didn't have one. And I kind of expected maybe this would be a little bit weird with the raised cloth bit, but hey, let's try it out and see what happens. Again, I used that laser guide to help me roughly get the placement right. I set it to engrave and I returned a few minutes later. And again, it worked perfectly. Using this for 3D prints in this way is quite an interesting application. It's definitely something I'm going to experiment more with for some of my upcoming cosplay projects, and I want to test it with FDM as well. The final thing to do with these 3D printed engraved pieces is to see what they paint like. Now I know that they also offer a rotary tool that they use for like engraving cups and stuff. I'd be super interested in getting my hands on one of those in the future. You could possibly even use it to like twist a leg around and tattoo all the way around the thigh. Maybe. This little machine works on so many different materials, so I am definitely not done playing around with it. I would love to know, have you ever used the laser engraver before? Have you tried it on 3D prints? Do you have any fun ideas for me to try? Do let me know in the comments down below. You know I always love to hear your ideas. Overall, this is a really useful, compact laser engraver. Bear in mind that the 3D printed pieces I tested on here were all 1/4 scale, so I really think something like this is plenty big enough for most people. Also, this is the 10-watt laser version, so it also has the ability to cut some materials too. You may have seen we're currently working on Gallery's painting contest, so I know Parker has some plans for this laser engraver to help him create some sets for his entry. For now, I'm going to leave my experiments here, but I probably will keep people updated in the Discord and keep on showing you all of the projects I am doing. So if you are interested in seeing more, don't forget to come join us on Discord. I am super intrigued to see if laser engraving starts to become incorporated in 3D printing projects even more. Whether that's to engrave plinths, create patterns and tattoos, or to create backdrops for the models themselves. It's definitely an interesting way to spice up a project. If you do want to get your hands on one of these for yourself, I have left a link down below in the description. As always, a special thank you to all of our patrons on screen. We are just a couple of days away now from introducing our new tiers to celebrate our 1-year anniversary. As always, thank you all for watching, and we will catch you all in the next one.